Well, as we've been discussing, Jake, I think the problem that lies that really undergirds that kind of lack of understanding in the part of the people, the population in general, is the education system. I don't think the students are getting the proper education about these matters, because education as we know it, especially in the U.S., has become increasingly polarized and is dominated by a political agenda, obviously in this case, liberalism. I remember a few years ago I attended the graduation of elementary school of one of my nieces. And the professor that gave the commencement address, let's call it that way, I mean, he only spoke about Obama. Obama was recently elected in that time. And it was so disgusting. I mean, it wasn't the proper forum for him to do that. I mean, you're talking about kids that are, what, at the end of elementary school, you are what? 12 years old. So that is at that point when the indoctrination is taking place. Right from the very beginning, before kids get into high school, they're already being bombarded by all these kinds of liberal thoughts and agenda, and it's really undermining the foundation of our nation as we know it. So I was wondering if we can address briefly what is, well, I think we already defined what is the cause, maybe why this is taking place, and what would be the proper way to fix this problem.
Sure. Well, and I think that's one of the major causes. Honestly, I think there's two more causes now. One of them, I think, is convenience. So you've got Facebook, obviously. You've got now Netflix, and I know this may sound strange, but if you take out people from watching network television with commercials, with things like that, you no longer have commercials. You no longer have some sort of outside speaking to you. You have the movie you're watching, the TV show you're watching, and there's nothing to kind of sway away from that one thing, which is not a bad thing for the entertainment value. But if you're going to get rid of news to switch for your favorite TV show you can binge watch, then you've got to go out and gather the information elsewhere. And now we get bombarded with Facebook. So they've got this system that if you've looked up certain stuff, that's all you're going to see. And it's coming out that Zuckerberg doesn't like certain conservative platforms, so they completely cut that out. Now you got these kids who are getting on Facebook younger and younger, and that's all they're seeing, then that's all you're going to see. And it's always hard to play catch up. So, when going back to what you were saying, you now there's an 11-year-old girl who is kneeling during the Pledge of Allegiance in her school. And they don't even know why. They know that people are doing it. The NFL players don't even know why, if we want to get into that. But these people get in here and they glamorize the left agenda. They glamorize socialism. They glamorize give out to the people. We've got to love one another. Do what feels good, not what you should be doing. And so the biggest problem is everybody's going out here and they won't look up things for themselves. And that's why the short videos that people get into, the quick-witted, the funny ones, those are important right now because that's how people are getting their news. It's no longer, get on there with Walter Cronkite and everybody's gathering around the TV. Yeah. It's now, hey, did you see what this, whether it's Ben Shapiro or whether it's Bill Maher or whether it's, Steven Crowder, like you get that viral video. Correct. And that is the epitome of where people go. But and even with that, still, it's dangerous. Because people, like, here we go, the current one with Sanders stepping up there saying, oh, the Koch brothers, they presented this thing, and they're telling us that if everybody gets on Medicaid, that will save us $2 trillion, which is completely false. Even Jake Tapper, of all people, said that it was false. Yeah. And nobody will ever look and make sure that whatever Bernie Sanders is dropping out of his jaw is true or not. All they do is they say, well, Sanders said it, so it's got to be true. Look, he's proven it because he just told us that somebody did a report on it. But again, he changed what the outcome was, and it became whatever he wanted. So in this day of convenience, and we can do everything quicker, which makes it actually a more busy life, because you feel the need to fill with everything. So people, if it's not popping up when everybody's trying to do Candy Crush, then nobody's looking it up. And it's a dangerous thing to do. You just allow people to do stuff, and that's what is appealing with socialism, is they're saying, give us your money and we'll take care of it. Yeah, okay. So
I was thinking as you were developing your idea that maybe one of the reasons why this lack of understanding about these issues has to do with the way kids are being raised in the home. Because I think, I know that you particularly take some time to explain to your daughters
sure.
What is the privilege of being an American. And I know many other parents do, but most don't.
Right.
And I think that's also a big problem. Kids are leaving their homes, going to elementary school, high school, without some kind of foundation that prepares them to digest what they are about to be bombarded with.
Right. And if there's one piece of advice that can fix probably 80% of the problems with this country, it's sit down around a dinner table together. That's gone away. Again, you get back into convenience. Oh, we've got soccer, we've got baseball, we've got to run over here and do all these different things. We can't sit down. In my house, you sit down, and you don't get up till you're told you can get up. And it's not just a matter of eating. It's not just a matter of respect when somebody's done something for you. It's to talk to them. You know, I talk to my girls when they come home. What'd you learn from school? Who are you hanging out with? Who are you around? You'd be amazed at the people, even when I was growing up, the people whose parents had no idea who their friends were.
Yeah.
And it's because you don't talk to them. So if you force everyone to sit down at that dinner table, I guarantee you're going to have a conversation. You're going to have fun. You're going to be amazed at who your kids actually are.
Yes.
And you're going to be able to answer questions. One thing that my wife and I have always done from day one when the kids could talk, if they had a question, I answered it. We didn't do the goo goo gaga, like, why is the sky blue? Oh, that's God's favorite color, so he just painted it that way. Yeah. No, we answered things. Who was George Washington? And my kids know that George Washington was a redhead that a lot of people don't know. They know that he was a colonel in the English Army, which a lot of people don't know. My daughter, during one of our vacations, was answering questions at the age of 5 that were blowing the minds of these 50-year-old men. They're asking questions. My daughter's like, Dad, that's George Washington. He's a redhead. And this guy's like, no, he wasn't. He had white hair. I'm like, yeah, because everybody had white hair back then, And you'd be amazed at what your kids will retain. My kids know the 10 Bills of Rights, the first 10 amendments, because it's important. And if I instill that in them before they get into the Brainwash Academy, they can kind of raise that question. Wait a minute. That's not what my dad said. Yeah. That's not. And you know what? Do your research. Correct. I encourage them.